This is a video about formatting spreadsheets. Sounds kind of boring, but I hope you haven't turned it off yet. Hetty, my friend, has made a number of suggestions on fixing this thing I call generic macros that I have to rename. I don't know what the hell to name it. Okay, and the idea here, as I've said, I think earlier, is to stop wasting time on formatting. I've seen so many kind of people, I've seen so many people who think they're so cool in Excel and they just format everything one by one. God, it's so irritating. And I'm not an artist. I am totally not an artist. But I've worked hard on this generic macro stuff for many years, and I think we've made some pretty dramatic improvements to it. And it's still totally and completely free. That's why right now I'm staying in some hotel that costs about 15 US dollars. Um, so you can go to my website and then you can go right on the first page, and I'm going to update it perhaps because I put another book in here, Hetty's book. There, there, you can do that, order that book, and here you can download this file called Generic Macros. And it is supposed to be your partner. We're thinking about coming up with some new name for this one. It's supposed to be your partner in modeling. So I'm gonna and the part of the generic macros I'm going to talk about is not the Shift Control R, which allows you to copy to the right, and not a couple of the other macros, but Control Alt C. It's this macro. Now, what I've done, I'll just review what I'm going to do. I've put the table of contents here that was here before, but we've added a sheet that says you can, if you get somebody else's sheet and it's a format that sucks and they've got all kind of different, sometimes the view is, 90%, 110%, you can make it all consistent. Then I've put some of the added shortcut keys, and some of the shortcut keys I use a lot. These were here before. This just deletes some blank rows or blank columns so you can put things together. And then I've got I've added something where you can import all of these functions like interpolate lookup, and you can find and show what's a link to an external file, and remove, like if you've got one sheet and it says the sheet name all the time in there because you've went back and forth with the windscreen wiper thing, that's going to happen. Now I'm going to go through slowly. I've added this thing called where you can put borders around a cell. We've added in the column width title something where you can change the length of the column width. We've added a sum column, and you can put a border around the sum column. We've done a whole lot to this conditional formatting, most importantly where you can add zeros and ones instead of just trues and falses, and color them, and also fix some problems with some different languages. In the tab sheet, I think I've added some additions. I've fixed some things. Oh, we can start at a different area. And finally, in the dashboard, we can have added some options. Okay. And here's my deal. My friend, I got this really good friend, Vincent, who lives in Zurich, and I had a course with him. I was able to speak French to him, and then I started sharing. We shared the screen, and he never opens. He's such a good guy. I shouldn't say this. He never opens the generic macros. It makes me so sad, and that's what my fear is. And what I hope now, you have no excuse for not using this kind of stuff and wasting time. So, and it's free, not like these other shit things. Now, I shouldn't say swear words. I got in big trouble from my idiotic sister for swearing too much. The here I just have an input sheet. Let's just work on the input colors. Now you can press F5 to go to special constants. Everybody knows that. You can make a macro around it. It's a simple macro. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just focus right now on the inputs. And that means I'm going to turn off the other options. Okay, and this is very basic. You can press color the sheet, and then it finds all the inputs and marks them. If you'd rather like a different color, you can try this one. Okay, I don't know if that's a better color. If you want to use your own color, you go to this sheet in the generic macros called the default color, and I have some horrible, stupid default color here. I don't know which one to make it. God darn it. Let's make it this one. So I'm going to copy and Alt E S formats the T. Alt E S T. And by the way, I put some of those formats in the whatever generic macros. So what you can do is you can create your own color, a kind of a flexible color. So you press Control Alt C now, and then you click on this very bottom one. You notice how you can also kind of go down here. Whoops. Okay. That one's pretty cool, isn't it? You can go and it's all open so you can see it. And then, well, let's color it again. Okay, but then perhaps, oops, shoot. When I initialized it put everything together. So when you set all the defaults, I set defaults that I want to put all these other sections of coloring the model in. So I'm not going to do it this time. Okay, and then I'm going to apply an outline to the cells, and then I can pick what kind of border I want. I don't know about this stuff. So let's put a medium line. And then you click on coloring the sheet, and then it'll put a medium line. And maybe you think that's too kind of extreme. So maybe you'd like a light dots on the line. Okay. It puts the light dots, or you change your mind and say, screw that, I want no borders at all, and it'll go here and it'll take all the borders away. So those are a few of the little innovations on the just coloring the inputs. Now Control Alt C once again. Okay, and now let's move to the second thing. Now my friend Hetty is really, she's the one who inspired this whole thing. She told me it's all too complicated. It's all got to be so simple because her friend made an app and became some multi-millionaire, some app for some children's book or something, and I don't know how to make it simpler. Whatever. If you have suggestions, maybe I can figure them out. So I'm leaving this for now. So right now I'm going to include this column. Now this column only applies to column A, which is, I put these little bitty things here, this 1, 2, 3 thing. And then if we would like it to be a green color, what it will do in a default here is it will color it green, but that kind of sucks. So she tells me, no, I'll put my own color in. And then we'll put a different, that's again the flex color, so it's exactly the same. That comes from that default sheet in the other sheet. But maybe you want some bold. So I'm there, stop making excuses about not using this. And I had to put the bold over here because I kind of ran out of space, excuse me. Okay, and maybe you say, no, I don't like that crap when it goes across the whole sheet. I would much rather you have it only do it for about 15 columns across, because I go and I color this every time. And I remember I went to Switzerland many years ago. Oh, oops. That was too many. Oh, shit. I hope I didn't screw that one up. It's been working so well. Let's put 10. Okay, it goes to 10. I think if I go above some level, it stops. Okay, some people like that. I remember in Switzerland, I was working on some oil projects, and somebody said, "Well, what's your real hobby? What really motivates you?" I didn't want to say it. I said, "Oh, coloring spreadsheets." What an idiotic thing to say. Oh, Jesus, I really said that. Control Alt C again, and then so that's that. I think that covers about it. And then I said, okay, let's add a sum column. Well, this page doesn't have a sum column, so now uh, let's go to our project finance model. How's that? And right now, let's do this. Let's take all the coloring away. If I press Shift Control F on the whole sheet, I press Shift Alternate just now. Shift Control F. That's one of the many custom shortcuts. And then if I'm gonna go to conditional formatting, manage all the rules. Oh, take it to this sheet, delete all these rules. Now we'll go through that in just a minute. Why I had to have so many conditional formattings. Okay, so now let's press Control Alt C again, and this time I'm gonna turn off the rest of these things. Okay, and then I'm going to let's apply that. Okay, let's apply the light dots. How's that? And now let's say that I'm totally convinced. I'm convinced that having a sum column is a good thing. Okay, I don't know what that just did when I X'd out, but this column number J is just the sum of things across. Okay, and apparently it's supposed to be very important to color that column a little differently. So I have a default of coloring this column, and I can either include the sum column or not. And when I include it, I would have to go back and do just what I did, and that happens to be column J, which is the correct column. And then it's going to copy that column. I suppose you could apply this sum column to any column you wanted if you wanted to kind of color it a little bit differently, and then we can put a border. Why don't I put a light line? How about this? I'll put a light dash on this sum column, and I don't think I have much more to say about that. Again, I can put a bold in it, and I should take the rest of this shit away. Okay, I hope you can kind of see how it works. All right, I didn't put an option to not color the input sheets, and then, God damn it, I thought I took this away. Apparently I didn't. Okay, excuse me for that. Okay, and then you can see it selected the sums, and I suppose if you really said, "Oh no, I don't like that outline. It should be doing every single one." Okay, there's a way to modify it. Frankly, I don't know how to. I'd have to look into that. Okay, God. All right, that's the sum column. Okay, now Control Alt C once again. Okay, and then we're to this flags. I give up. I'm calling them flags. I hate the name. I hate the name masks more than flags because it sounds so absurdly fake, sophisticated. Okay, now before I could just put the true and false. That's a very easy macro. Okay, now we'll make this one. I put some ones and zeros in here. Okay, there's some ones and zeros, and I started in column L. Okay, and I used the flexible option instead of Well, maybe I'll use this. Okay, so I use the flex color option, and if I press the true color option, the true and false color option, it gives me a different pattern. Okay, and I can try this now. I have real trouble in kind of showing the exact colors that are used sometimes. So this option 3 is kind of not so good. Well, I mean, it doesn't show it, but uh, some people like this shit. Whatever. Okay, where's some truths? Okay, all right, enough of that. Enough of that. That's coloring the true and false. Now that was a really big deal. You think finding all the zeros and ones is no big deal, but you have to go and if there are some other numbers in this line, like you have to make sure and not color these. It was a very tricky thing to do. Perhaps I didn't do it in a perfectly optimal way either, but that's the coloring the true and false is like nothing. But I know the rest of the world doesn't use true and falses. I know what you use. Okay, no excuse not to use it again. Okay, you don't have to use any of these things, but you can. Now let's get to the section of marking things from other sheets. And I remember I was in Singapore many years ago, and I used to show how investment bankers color from different sheets, and I did it by hand. And the man said, "Don't you have anything automatic to do that?" And I said, "Oh God, I don't. Oh no." And so I worked on that, and it's a pain. You have to go to other sheets, find the color. So if you press this one and press a flex sheet and do this adding current sheet is not very important. That says if it's your own sheet, you want to make a color, you know. I mean, I have an accountant who said RGB or something, blue, red, green, blue inputs, red another sheet, green same sheet, linked or something, whatever. God. Okay, so now I'm going to color the sheet, and I think actually, so you can take the tab color of the sheet. Now this might be a little mistake here. Excuse me for doing this. Okay, you can see it takes a little bit longer. Okay, so maybe you don't want to use it quite as much, and I'm not embarrassed to say it takes. Now this came, oh, shoot, this came from the input page. I'm going to take this number from the input page. Where's this thing? I'm going to take the title from the input page too. Why did that not work? Oh, shoot. Let's go to the input page and get the title. And let's get the title for P99 1 year. I was trying to explain some of this stuff. Okay, and P99, uh, uh, whatever, P20, P99 20 years. Okay. All right, and then now if you can do a couple of things. Let's do something else. So this is blue because it came from the blue sheet. You could also, if you believe that person who said, "Oh, use RGB," you could color it red. Fine. You could, to any time it comes from a different sheet, you don't take it from the tab sheet. You take it from the sheet it comes from. Okay. Again, it's taking a little longer. Come on, hurry up. It's taking a little longer because it has a little more work to do. And yeah, I'm going to waste time. I shouldn't do it. And of course, if it's a smaller sheet, it wouldn't take long at all. So I should have had maybe a small sheet example. Uh, if you would like to reverse the colors, sometimes, occasionally, I really, really want to highlight it. Now, you probably won't use this, but this will make the red on the whatever the font color will be white, I think, and background color, that's what you call it. That will be red. So that's too extreme. It didn't even work properly here and all of that. Now, sometimes you wouldn't want to color those things in the titles, and you might want to only start the column coloring column in E. So anything there, anything up to D won't be colored. And I'm doing it one more time. Okay, and come on. And this time I'm not stopping the video like I sometimes do to cheat. Okay, and then it didn't color these things, so that's another option you have. Okay, let's now finally we're getting to the end. Okay, if I no, I'll put my kind of default color, which is red anyway, and I won't reverse it. If I wanted to go up here and put a little nice dashboard here, let's go up to line 7. Okay, and we'll increase this. Now, when I increase it, it automatically puts the thing on, and I'm having problems with this shit. I'm gonna make it a black one, and I'm gonna put some bold things on it. Okay, and that will apply the bold to this title column, by the way, too. I got a little lazy about that. You can complain if you want, but remember it's free anyway. But I just hope you start to use this. Okay, I never ever, almost no matter what kind of project I'm on, I always open it. I'm bragging and being arrogant like so many people in the world. They shouldn't be. Okay, and now we'll finally kind of finish with this. All right, and now sometimes you might, this might be a review too. So what I just did this in the generic macros. I put a little color code with a disclaimer. See this, this is our company, Elvis. He is providing the financial by Elvis Presley, okay? And then we put our little color code. So if you press Alt-EM, you know, these, I also put some, let's create a copy of this, okay? And then let's say we agreed with those. We can just press Shift Control C. I can't get my words out. And then, oops, I didn't want to do that. Shift Control C again. I didn't want to put the stupid thing on the top, so I unclick that. I'll remove the bold, and I think the rest of it's okay. And I'm not sure I put enough in, so that's our input data, links from other sheets. Oh, shoot, I should have. That didn't really work very well, did it? So let's take just some number from another sheet. Okay, and we've got a flag for true and a flag for false, but this time we're starting in column E. Okay, and start in column E, and let's use our flexible thing. And I made a little sum column in column D this time. I should have told you, so it didn't quite work as well as I wanted it to. And that true and false didn't color for some stupid reason. Okay, and then so now we have all of our false. Is that a 0 or an O? Oh God. Okay, so this illustrates, if you want to put your little coloring thing, you can just use the generic macro to kind of make your stuff. Okay, I'm going to save this file. Now, there are a couple of other things we can do. Control-Alt-C. Now, actually, I'm going to close this. I put some macros here. If you press Control-Alt-D, Control-Alt-D, this is some macros I use. You can modify them yourself. I add underlines. I use the alternative to EIS. I do some of this stuff, putting some dashes and zeros. I use this a whole lot in the underlines. Whatever. Okay. Maybe you don't care about this. If you press Control Alt, this might blow up. Control Alt E. Control Alt E. I put some of the regular old shortcuts I use, but people seem to not use these. Alt E K is a wonderful thing to break the links. Alt E L to delete a sheet. Alt E S V to copy and paste this values. This stuff. If you in France, you might have to press Control point d'exclamation. Var is the fucking var for true in German. Jesus. Okay. Now, and then if you would like to create your own table of contents, if you press Shift F11 and put a contents, okay, and let's press Control Alt C again, and this time you might want to say who created the file. So you just press this thing to run table of contents. Now before you are finished pressing it, just do a little thing. Press Control C, continue and create the table of contents, and then you get a couple of names down here. And what you have to do, this is the same sort of thing you have to do for other functions. You press alternate, oops, come on, Jesus. Alternate F8, and let's just take this workbook. Let's edit whatever, something. I probably was messing around with some of this stuff. I don't know what I was doing here. And then I've just copied those functions in, and then it will even tell you the name of the file. And Kim Jong-un did this. Oh, good. Okay, and then you can get all the. Okay, enough of that. That's the table of contents. The only problem with this is it'll go to any of the sheets, and I put it so it will go back. If you have a graph, it won't go because you can't make a link to a graph. So then it says go to charts by pressing Shift and Enter. I hope that works because I haven't tried it. Whoops. I press Shift Space, Shift Enter, and then it takes to the graph, and it says Control Alt Shift Control Z to take you back. Okay, enough. All right, let's press that again. Control Enter. It says Shift Enter, and then Shift Control Z. Okay, enough of the contents. That's a very, very easy macro to make. Okay, and then let's say that instead of this, now some of these, what is this, Arial or something? What, oh, it's Calibri 11, but what, I don't know how to pronounce that. Maybe you want it smaller, and some of these might be 100%, some are 90%. How sucko is that? When you close the file and give it to somebody else, this is 110%. Get them all in the same format. Okay, Control Alt C, and this one, it might take a second, and oops, that's, Control Alt C, oh no, God. When you get this thing, initialize the generic macros. There was what happens is that, I don't know, it doesn't remember the number of rows or columns in a sheet, and it has to go back. Control Alt C again. That wasn't that bad, really. And then you work through each sheet, and let's make it 90% on each one. So what it'll do, it'll go through each sheet, make it 90, put a consistent format. Now, if you don't like that, you can, of course, I'm saying of course, and that's not so obvious, but you go to your own sheet and you go to the macro. In generic macros, this is attached to a macro, and it just described it. And then it will, I did something wrong on the diagrams. Okay, I've got to double check that, whatever. Okay. I'm not going to stop the video for that one. Okay. And then, uh, uh, yeah, I saved the file. Control-Alt-C. Oh, shoot. Because of that debug, I have to initialize it again. I just implemented that thing today, so sorry about that. Control-Alt-C. And then I've talked about these keys. I'm not going to talk about this. I suppose I'll talk about this one. If you want to input other functions. Now, again, I think I've got a tiny bit more work to do on this one. But if you input other, and this, okay. It goes through and it says I can input a function on the lookup function, the payback function, the add text function, the quarterly function, the depreciation function. And if you click on this, it's not quite ready, but you just click on this, you select it all, Control A right on it, and Control C, just like I did before, and you just put that into your sheets, okay? This thing that says find external links, I'm not going to press that right now. I've talked about it. If you have a link to another file and you want to find out, and it puts it in some ugly, horrible color. Okay, I didn't even give you an option for that because sometimes I want to find out where those links are, and then this removes those links to the same sheet, which can be so irritating. And that is it. That's enough. Okay, I'm also going to put some other shortcut things in the generic macro sheet, whatever. All right, enough of that video. That's